Hey, how's it going? Today we're going to play some games with Ogerpon Sinistcha. Now, we all know Teal Mask Ogerpon is really good. It has the ability that lets you attach a grass energy from your hand to this Pokemon once during your turn if you do draw a card. But there's also these other Ogerpons. There's a Fire Ogerpon that I ended up cutting from the list that has an attack that does more damage for each damage counter on it. But it just never ended up coming up, so it ended up getting cut from the list. Now, all the Ogerpons work together with the Ogre's Mask card that lets you switch an Ogerpon EX you have in play with one from your discard pile. So you can kind of charge up the Teal Mask Ogerpon and then switch it with the other ones and then already have energy on the Wellspring Ogerpon that has the attack Sob that does 20 and your opponent can't retreat next turn. And it has an attack for water and double colorless that does 100 to the active, and if you shuffle all the energy in, it does 120 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And then the Cornerstone Ogerpon has an ability that it can't be attacked by Pokemon that have abilities, and it has an attack for fighting and double colorless that does 140, and it's not affected by any effects on your opponent's active, so it hits through like Mimikyu and other Cornerstone Ogerpons. But kind of the main attacker in this deck is going to be the Grass Ogerpon and the Sinistcha that has one attack that for grass you put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon any way you like, and another attack that for one grass does 70 for each grass energy you discard from all your Pokemon. You can only discard 3, so it can hit 210 on a 1-price Pokemon. It's pretty good. And there's also a Sinistcha EX that for one grass says put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon for each grass energy in your discard pile, then shuffle them all back into your deck. So we can like snipe at the end of the game, and it can also be used to recover grass energy to draw with Teal Mask Ogerpon's ability. We have Wyrdeer V that has an ability that when we put in the active, we can take as many energy from our other Pokemon as we want, and an attack that does 40 plus 40 more damage for each energy on the Wyrdeer. So that can be a big one-shot Pokemon, which is nice. And yeah, the rest of the deck's just kind of supporters to find energy in our Pokemon. And I kind of ended up with this weird mishmash of Bug Catching Sets, Earthen Vessels, and Energy Lotos. I had 4 Vessels at one point, and then I ended up like going to 4 Bug Catching Set, and then the Bug Catching Sets were kind of underwhelming. So I forget what I switched those to. I think just more grass energy, but this is what I ended up with. Now let's get into the games. Alright, so this first game I give them a thumbs up because I think we're in like kind of a mirror match type of situation. It's just kind of funny that we both started the Cornerstone Ogerpon. That's probably just a one-up in both of our decks. But I quickly noticed that we're up against Control, which is kind of unfortunate. And I Bug Catching Set and hit 2 Ogerpons, and now I can just start like drawing a card, get another Bug Catching Set, and totally whiff it. This is kind of why they ended up being underwhelming. I don't know, I'd rather just have a guaranteed way to get the cards. And with so many grass energy in the deck, I think I just ended up drawing them most of the time that I need them and didn't really need a card to search for them. So I Ultra Ball here for a Poltchageist, I don't know what it's called, because it's a good attacker and I have the other guy in my hand. And this is kind of a weird matchup where I don't really know what to do. I don't want to put too many Pokemon in play, but I also don't want to like, I don't know, you can kind of attack with everything in this deck though, so it doesn't really matter if they Erica's anything into the active. But this looks like more of a Pidgey control build. So I'm guessing they're going to go for more energy removal and just try to like stall me out eventually. And I'm contemplating evolving into the EX here, but I don't. This is when I still had the 4 Bug Catching Set in the deck. I think I had it in there even over Nest Balls. And like they're pretty good when they hit like this, but I don't know. I think overall they were very underwhelming. It's just Great Ball that you can grab 2 cards, but sometimes you just don't see anything you want off a Great Ball to begin with. So I just decided to play this game slow because you don't really need to play really fast. It's funny, they play Eerie and I got no items. There's like not the most amount of items in this deck. And yeah, they just hit nothing, and now they're gonna Pidgey out for something. But yeah, against these decks, you can just kind of play it pretty slow and wait. Like, you don't need to rush anything. You can just build up your board and hopefully you'll be able to attack, but you do not want to let them build up their board too much, or their hand really. You want to try to like make it so that there's some turn when you can start taking knockouts, and you can take a knockout and also like disrupt their hand with an Iono or Judge or something. And I hit them for 420 because I'm an idiot and forget that there's weakness. So I just wasted a bunch of my energy. And then I hit 2 cards off the prizes that if they play Erica's, I definitely don't want in the active, which kind of sucks. And they pull out their Sob guy. So now I can either mask that into another one or just hope to find some energy switches. And I find one. Now I can just play down all these cards. I kind of have to research at this point to get those cards out of my hand. And I find the second energy switch, which is very nice. It's kind of cool with all the energy switches and stuff. This deck is pretty good into control. And I'm just checking if there's anything I'd rather have in my active. Because I did get the Ogre's Mask. This is kind of like one of the first iterations of this deck. I'm just playing out all the cards out of my hand, and I hit them for 140. So, oh, they hit me with the Giacomo. That kind of sucks. That's unfortunate because that was my way to attack. But what can you do? Hopefully we find a way to win this game. I don't know. This deck it's definitely not the best, but with all these Ogerpons coming out and a way to make them work together, I really wanted to try to make the deck work, and I was hoping to actually make it good. But this just ended up being like the only reason that this deck is decent is because the Sinistcha is a good card. And here I'm just debating what to do if I want to even play this other Ogerpon onto the bench. And I decide not to, because I could always top deck like an Ultra Ball or something, and then Ultra Ball away the Teal Mask Ogerpon and Ogre's Mask the active into it and knock this Wellspring guy out. They are charging up the boof a lot, which can definitely be annoying. Like, they're gonna lost zone my Luminous energies. So at this point I do really want to get this switched into a Teal Mask Ogerpon so I'll have more ways to attack with it, and not an Ogerpon that needs a colored energy. But they do end up using their Rotom instead of using Sob on the same turn that I top deck the Prime Catcher, of course. So now I'm just gonna keep drawing cards because I want to get some more options. And I can knock out this Charizard, or no, I can't, because I can only do 90, 120, 150. So I'm just gonna finish off the Ogerpon that they had in the active. And they send up their Pidgeot, of course, because that's for retreat. And yeah, now I just need to get basically enough energy in the discard pile to use and find my Sinistcha EX and knock out their Rotom. If I can get 10 in the discard pile, I can. But I have 2 stuck on random Pokemon. So this is where the deck kind of starts taking prizes, which is, I don't know. I kind of like these decks where I should see this as a mistake. I should just be sending up one of the Pokemon to retreat off the energy. I don't know why I'm sending this up. Maybe I'm thinking about using a Prime Catcher, because I could Prime Catcher and try to find a grass energy for my other Sinistcha. Oh, I sent it up for the Rescue Board. That makes sense. And I'm just debating using the Ogre's Mask here to switch out the Cornerstone Ogerpon into another grass one. I should just play it. I really don't want to lose this game at this point. Like everyone else, I hate losing to control decks. So I don't even use the Prime Catcher, which I don't know how I feel about that. I would have just won the game if I used the Prime Catcher. Like, now that I'm watching this back, I don't know. I don't know how I missed that play. That's kind of embarrassing. I think I had like quite a few grass energy in the deck too. But I just end up retreating into this baby Sinistcha and doing the attack for the same amount of damage that would have lost me the game. Or that would have won me the game. Wow, I don't know what I'm saying right now. If I had just used the Prime Catcher, and now I'm forced into a spot where I have to just hope that I can find a grass off my top deck or off my Iono. But like I said, I think my deck has like a ton of energy left in it. I don't know. Oh, they had to bring up that one because the Bravery Charm, which is why I left the grass on that one. Yeah, now that I'm watching this back, it's kind of stupid of me. And I top decked the grass, of course, so now I can just knock out the Bouffalant with the Rebrew attack. I think this deck is so cool. Like a snipe attack with Victini Prism Star's old attack. Alright, so we're up against Lugia. This was filmed, or I recorded these games before NAIC, so it was when Lugia was just everywhere, and I haven't had time to make any new games, so I have a couple cool decks from NAIC that I'm pretty excited to do videos on. But I wanted to put something out today, so I just decided to do this Ogerpon deck because I don't know how much better it's going to get. Like I was saying earlier, I really wanted to make it a good deck. It's just, I don't know, the Teal Mask Ogerpon is really good with other cards, and the other Ogerpons are like decent as a one-of randomly in decks. So they get the turn 1 Carmine and discard 2 Lugia V-Stars, it looked like. That could definitely be good for us. And they get down a second Lugia V. I don't know if they think I'm like playing Raging Bolt, because knocking out a Lugia with no energy on it is really hard for just this Ogerpon. And I'm debating benching the Wyrdeer because I think I'm going to want that at some point, but there is a Super Rod in the deck, so I could always just use that. No, I'm debating using the ability on the active because I'm thinking it's just going to go down next turn, and I don't really want to waste any more energy than I have to. I want to start building up enough energy in play to maybe one-shot a Lugia at some point. We get the Cornerstone Ogerpon, which would have been kind of nice to have on the bench because I could have sent it up into this Lugia V after they knock me out. But then they can just retreat and knock me out with the Cinccino. I don't know, it's kind of weird. I could try and play to them like running out of Cincinos, but then I think they probably only play 3 Lugia V-Stars, so they're always going to have 1 Lugia V on their bench, and that has no ability. But they do not end up getting the attack. Now I'm just debating what to vessel away here. It's kind of a hard decision, because by getting rid of that Wyrdeer, I've basically already committed my Super Rod, and I just use the Bug Catching Set hoping to get 2 grass. I hit 1, so I can just vessel away the Loto, because now I will have enough energy. And I just need to find some energy switches, I think. Yeah, I need 2 more energy on this active to knock out this Lugia, which is like, I don't know, it's a lot of energy. And I'm thinking about nest balling I was reading the Wyrdeer to see just how many energy I would need, and then I could have nest balled for it. But I think it's too many to commit at this point in the game. It's a little too early for that. And now this is my only stadium bump, so I wasn't sure about using it. And I do whiff the attack, so I just retreat, and they have another jamming tower, of course. So I just retreat into an Ogerpon with less energy and hit into it. So I'm 2-shotting energy. I don't want to waste my 5 energy Ogerpon on a 2-shot. I want to build it up to a 1-shot, but they miss it again. Holy crap. Yeah, that kind of stuff does happen with Lugia, though. I usually don't expect it twice. I don't know. I expect 1 read the wind out of them a lot, which I'm always kind of amazed when Lugia can attack on turn 2. When they had like the Evo incense and all that stuff, it was pretty consistent, but now it's just kind of blind luck, basically. It's like a 20-20-20 deck with no extra consistency other than just Luminions. So now I can just take 2 prizes. And I get another Poltchageist, which is cool. I want to use those to knock out these Cincinos so they're not taking 2 prizes every turn. Because they're 100% gonna get the summoning star this turn. And I don't know, they're not out of this game though, because they can just attack with 1 prizers and go, if they can get bosses the next 2 turns and I can't boss their Lugia V-Star and knock it out at any point, which they do get the boss, they knock out the only chance that I basically had to knock out that Lugia V-Star, but they did waste the boss that they had in hand. So now I'm probably going to boss them to not activate their gift energy, because I just need to make sure that they whiff boss for 1 turn and that I can keep attacking with these Sinistchas. Because that is going to be the key to winning this game, and I don't want to give them gift energy at all. And here I'm just debating if I should save the energy switches or use my special energy on the Sinistcha, and I do decide to just make it so that I discard the grass off of it and use one of the Luminous so that I have the opportunity to Ogre's Mask if I want to. Because I do only have to get rid of 1 energy, because I'm knocking out this Masquerade. I don't want to give them any more cards than they already have, and I need them to miss boss this turn basically, and we should be good to win the game unless I can get like Prime Catcher Wyrdeer next turn. In that case, I would win either way, but I don't know if I'm going to end up getting that. They do not knock me out, so now I could just Prime Catcher and research and try to get into the Wyrdeer. I'm debating evolving into the Sinistcha EX, because at some point I could just use it to knock out one of the Archeops and put 8 grass energy back in my deck, but I don't have enough in there at this point. I'm just playing these cards to play them basically, and I do get the Wyrdeer, and I don't really know how many energies that I need to knock out this Lugia. I hope I'm not BMing at this point. It might have been one of those games where I'm like, I really don't want to do the math. I'm just going to put them all on there. And I just Frontier Road, put all the energy on the guy, and they concede, and we end up winning that game. Now, that is the Ogerpon deck. I do not think that you should like play this deck if you're trying to win tournaments or anything, but it's kind of a fun deck on the ladder. You can mess around with putting a second Ogre's Mask back in it and the Fire Ogerpon, and then like, you know, if your opponent ever doesn't one-shot you, it's kind of like a gotcha, and you just like switch into it and do a ton of damage. Into Dragapult specifically, it could be good, but when I was trying to get these games, Dragapult was nowhere to be found. So, because Dragapult will hit you for 200, then you can switch into the fire one, hit them for 400, and one-shot their first Dragapult. But everyone was playing like Lugia and Raging Bolt, so both those decks are probably going to one-shot me, so I took it out, but it might be better now. Anyways, yeah, I'll post a better deck tomorrow, either a really cool kind of Frostlass deck or the winning deck. I'm not 100% sure yet. But anyway, take care and have a good one.